Okay, so today we're going to split, not today, but we're going to have 2 days of this. We're going to develop frameworks. We're going to develop 4 and then a end one, kind of 5. You're going to, at the end of this, you're going to have a framework is simply just a list of how to do things. That's a framework. Okay? You're going to have a list on how students should take notes, how they should engage in math problems, either homework or classwork, however you want to think about them, how students should study for exams, and then how they should actually evaluate the performance based on exams. And then we'll lump all 4 of those together and have an overall kind of student strategy list. That's the deal. Okay, so that's today and next week. All right. Okay, let's start with behaviorism. So what's behaviorism? Not textbook. What do you think? Just to you, what does it mean?
Passive.
Pass? Did you say pass? Passive. I like it. It's good. Makes much more sense than pass. Yeah. Next.
I got nervous.
No. Okay. Passive. What else? What else does behaviorists do? They do?
Kind of like repetition and like external rewards or something?
Yeah, that's pretty much it, right? Passive, external rewards, a lot of repetition. Okay, and passive was a great thing I didn't put up there. Space, board space. How about constructivism? What do they do? Active.
Yeah.
People learn based off of like their
Values.
That's
Values, beliefs, prior knowledge, yeah. And past experiences are that whole prior knowledge thing. Okay, so the one big thing to take away from that is the prior knowledge. There's math, that's what we really want to get to. And, the beliefs too, which isn't bad. Motivation, what's extrinsic?
Completing a task.
like outside reward.
Yeah, outside rewards, that's it. External factors, outside stuff. All right, how about intrinsic? Internal reward. Okay, what are the 3? So we want people to be intrinsic, right? There are 3 reasons why we don't engage in activities. What are they?
Afraid to fail.
We're afraid to fail. Absolutely. Why are we afraid to fail, though? Let's scoot back. Sorry, Katie. We'll come back to that. Why are we afraid to fail? It's not failure. What are we afraid of?
Looking back.
And we're afraid you're going to know that I'm stupid. It's not failing. I mean, I could go out and shoot a hoop and miss it, but who cares? Right? No, that doesn't shout out I'm stupid. All right, Katie, what do you think?
Oh, I was going to go on to the next.
I know.
Oh.
What is it?
Not interested.
Not interest. So failure, interest. What's the other one?
Value.
Absolutely no value in it. Okay, so if we want people to be intrinsically motivated, we need to hit these 3, or one of these 3, or try to hit them. I do want to point out, because I'll forget in my blog, when we start developing the frameworks, I attach motivation. Some of these are kind of hard to link to motivation, so if we can't do it, that's okay. All right. Okay, we okay with these 6? Well, 5 things. All right. How about knowledge and understanding? What's the difference between knowledge and understanding? What is knowledge?
Bits of information.
Information, that's it. Isolated bits of information. What's understanding? Yeah, we just connect them. Okay, so my questioning, your group work, that's all useless if I don't guide you to connect the information, to tell you why a square plus a circle. If I don't guide you to do that, it's a waste of time. It's just practicing. Unless that's your goal, is to become fluent at a process. There's nothing wrong with that. Yeah. Okay, what's understanding? We just did that. Good. Well done. Well done. Okay, types of understanding and knowledge. What are our learning goals? Declarative. What is that? Yeah, the bits of information. What else? Procedural. What is that? How to use it. Yep, we just actually have a process. What's the next 2? What's conceptual?
Connections and relationships.
Yeah, and it's the first time that we're going to go from knowledge now and jump to understanding. This is the deal. Right? Now we're actually connecting the bits. What's strategic? Yeah, where are we doing stuff? Right? And how do we apply it too? Right? Why is it useful and where do we use it? That's the deal. Okay? Those are our things. Questions, comments, concerns? And that, for us at least in this class, is how we're going to judge everything. This is how we know if questions suck or
So
not.
like if you were making your learning goals and for strategic, you put in there like an example of like how you can use it in real life. Is that?
You could. I think that's going to be a very hard stretch, like a tough thing to do. You can do that.
Right.
I mean, you can definitely, and This is the part that I don't have figured out yet that we're going to try to work on. They always link it back to careers. Well, engineers, all that stuff, there's always that crap in those jobs. But how many of us are going to be engineers? I mean, that's just, it's a great idea, but it's not what we're looking for.
Right.
The real idea is why you're doing the mathematical concept. So take limits. So why do we do limits? And this is something that's always kind of irritated me. Let's say that I have this function. And I want to find the limit of this function. Okay? Excellent. So you plug in and you substitute, that's great. Substitution may help us later on to develop things. This is an absolute waste of time for limits. Limits are not derived so we can actually find the values of continuous functions. That's not the point of a limit. Right? So why in the world are we doing this when we're losing sight of what the hell a limit is? There's a purpose for a limit, and it's sure as hell not to find out where things are continuous. If you want to talk about where they're continuous, it's part of the step, sure. It's in a process. But then let's talk about why do we actually use limits? That's the why. To find values that don't exist. That's what we want to do, to find out what happens to systems at places that don't exist. That's what we want a limit for. That's how we're going to use it later. That's the strategic part. All right? I got real excited. I'm all peppy now. Well, how my days. Okay, there's a lot of reasons. Okay, so these sheets we're going to do two sides because we're only doing two frameworks today. Okay, and we'll do the rest later-ish. Give me 1 second. Okay, so for the purpose of this, actually I wanted this again. I'll put it big screen. All right, but I've only given you the headings, so when you see experience, you're answering this question. All right, so if you look on the notes, and what we were going to do, so I got all excited, I should back up. Okay, we're going to do kind of a guided discussion. You're going to talk about things, you'll take notes on your page, whatever you want to take notes on. I'll have this on the board, you don't have to write down the questions. This will be projected, so you don't have to write it down. And then you'll write down whatever you think. We'll come together, we'll talk. You can add or subtract. I don't know why you cross things out, but you might want to. And then based off of your notes in that list, you'll come up with a framework on why students should do whatever they're going to do. All right? Okay? All right. So having said that, here's the first one. So we should go to the first page, which since the staple makes it obvious which one's the first page, I guess. It's the notes. Taking notes. So what I want you to do is I want you to jot down, right? How do you take notes in your math classes? You have lots of experience taking notes. Okay, we're going to limit this to math classes. I don't know if you do it differently in other classes. But how do you take notes in your math classes? This is your time to reflect. What do you like about it? What do you not like about it? Okay, as you keep working, this is nothing that you have to really pay attention to, but I've developed frameworks for all this stuff. Okay, so I have what I think is, well, the way that I would do it. All right, I will show you those back and forth. I'm worried to show you the beginning and the end. I think I'm still going to go to the end, but those are going to be up on my website. Okay, I won't put the next two up next week until we do them. I don't want it to be something that you copy. I want it to be something that you can develop on your own. If you like or dislike things that are in mine, that's fine. All right. So the point isn't for you to do what I do. The point is for you to well, that's the whole point of this class is I don't want you to be monkeys that copy people. I want you to be leaders, innovators that can do whatever you want and justify it. You tell people why things are good or bad. You're doing things that are good and bad. And you know why. All right. Okay, I don't want to cut you off. So just to reiterate too, I don't think I'm making much sense today. We'll come up with some ideas here. We'll fill out this whole thing, and at the very end, we'll come up with a list of the idea is at the end, if someone came up to you, a student came up to you right now and said, hey, look, I don't know how to take notes. How should I take notes in your class? This is the answer to that question. Is how should I take notes in your class? You're going to have a framework. Say, hey, look, if I were you, I would do this. Okay? It's my animation. I'm very, whatever the hell the end of that is. I'm sorry. Okay, now let's go around, let's talk, just a little discussion about what we do, because there could be things you like. Maybe you can add them to your list. If you don't want to add to your list, you don't have to. Right? This isn't you have to add things. It's just if you like things, then that's awesome. Okay, we'll start with Jack. What do you think?
what I would do is I would usually write down everything the teacher
Everything on the board.
did. Yeah.
Right, that's it. Okay, is there anything else? Do we do anything else? That's pretty much standard math stuff, right? If it goes on the board, it goes in my notes. Did anyone ever do anything different?
I would sometimes make like side notes if I like.
And like
Sure.
draw an arrow to it.
Yeah. Why would you do that, though?
Well, like for certain steps, maybe like to remember
Sure,
something.
sure. And how did you get that idea to draw those arrows? I mean, obviously it was important. He or she would have written on the board.
If I struggled with something like that before.
But how would you? My question. I don't want to get off this. My question is, how do you know that it's important if it wasn't on the board? How did you know that was something you might want to do? Did you come up with it yourself? Did you make the connection yourself that, hey, look, I could see how steps 1 and 2 go together? Did you make that connection? Is that how we do that?
Sometimes.
Sometimes?
Like,
We do that
somebody
sometimes?
else will ask a question and you'll say, okay, I didn't think about that, and write it down.
Yeah. Or what's another way? Verbally. Either way, all of this is verbal.
If the teacher says,
If the teacher says.
write this down.
Okay, so right now, those are the two huge things. Every single learning experience in your entire life is twofold in a classroom. It's visual and it's verbal. It has to be. There's no other way. It's visual and it's verbal. All right? And the deal is, with our notes, everything is visual. Everything we put on our page, every single student puts everything else on the board. They do not write down what you say, and that's a big problem. Okay? All right? Anything else? Anything else in how we take notes?
Like my CT right now, she starts like her notes with like a table of contents type thing. So then she tries to get them to stay like on the same pages as her. So then everything is like all of their pages are numbered in their notes.
Oh,
So
okay.
then if they're looking for like trig functions in their
Excellent.
notes, they can open up to the first page and see where it's at right away.
So I could say page 6. Everyone turn to page 6. So you're kind of creating your own book.
Or if they're like even doing a review sheet and they're looking for some specific concept or something, they can do that on their own.
Excellent. Absolutely excellent. So this is an idea. How are notes done? Sometimes they're organized so that we're all the same. Not to be autonomous, just to be organized. So I could say, hey, look, go to page 6. Great idea. Great idea. Anything else, Kristen, you were going to say?
My like 6th, 7th, and 8th grade teacher, she always like wrote everything like down herself and then it projected onto the screen.
Mhm.
So we would have like a PowerPoint with like theorems or something like that, and we would write down like the definition of something, and then we would show like one example with that definition, and then we would do it like examples of like the whole concept of the section we were talking about.
Okay, so explain it to me again. So we have a definition, and then she
Yeah.
writes.
Yeah,
An
like
example.
she would tell us like an example of what that definition typically is,
Uh-huh.
and then we would do examples like a book question or something, like something that would be on our
Okay.
homework.
I like
and we would do that with her, like showing us what
Nice.
to do, and then we would
Nice.
get in groups and do them on ours.
Okay, I like that. So definition, a direct example, and then kind of a group example from the book. Right? Nice, 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 nice. Okay, so now we're getting into the idea that definition's obviously in the book, but her example was not in the book, so we're getting things outside the book, right? Possibly, and then we get things that are actually back to the book, right? But they're connected. Example right with the definition. Right? Neither here nor there, but if we're constructing understanding, at that point we point out how they're connected. We show in the example what fits the definition, the actual language. All right? Okay, anything else?
My CT now and my practicum teacher last semester, they do interactive notebooks,
Okay.
which is really cool because like when they're going through like sections on graphs and charts and stuff, they print out pictures of graphs and charts and give them to glue in their notebooks so they
Nice.
don't have to take the time to draw them,
I like that.
or they are really bad artists and
Yeah,
can't draw the
or
graph on
something,
their own.
Nice.
So then they don't even, like if they drew it on their own, they wouldn't even be able to read it anyway.
Yeah,
So
well,
that's
possibly, yeah.
helpful too.
For middle school. Well, some middle schoolers, I'm sure. Yeah, that's another idea. So anything that's complicated, hand out ahead of time. A couple glue sticks, you're fine. Yeah, I like that. Anything else that you've liked or disliked?
I didn't like when the problem wouldn't get finished.
Would that happen?
I mean, like it would be like simple steps to finish it, but I don't know. There's
And they kind of just dot it like this is
Yeah.
obvious.
and then
Yeah.
like okay, and then like you can finish this later.
Okay.
But I wanted to finish it then.
Yeah. I can appreciate that too. Yeah. What am I doing here then?
Yeah.
I'm gonna finish everything at home. Let's call it a day, lady. I'm out of here. I like that. Finish your stuff. Okay. Anything else?
I think just,
Sorry, go ahead.
Be more assertive, Kristen. Let it fly.
I just think like organization is key because if your notes are like scattered all over your page, you're not going to know what goes with what. So I think just telling them like, start at the top of your page and work towards the bottom and turn the page and start over.
Yeah. This.
Like, rather than going back up to the top and drawing arrows and.
But we forget that some students might not really get that. So I mean, you really need to be clear. Yeah. Organization, absolutely
Which
fantastic.
I think with what Kristen said, projecting your notes, like if you have it written out in a notebook, projecting that so they can see how they should write
That'd be
it.
good. Yeah, I like that. Examples. Yeah. Absolutely. Fantastic. Anything else?
I was gonna say that I don't really like, it's something in one of my classes now is the way we learn it is she has us read the chapter or the section,
Mhm.
and then we do true and false questions about
Like to start the lesson.
That's pretty much the whole lesson, and
That's
then we
like
do
the
homework
whole
questions.
class.
Really?
Yeah, it's really
So you read. This is a horribly bastardized flipped classroom. That's awesome.
Oh, God. Yeah.
That's
But
it.
you should go to the Georgia's class.
Yeah, go.
You should.
It's awful.
She has really good jokes though.
That's all that matters. 10 years. That's all you remember.
They're
So,
painful.
I'm guessing sarcasm. Okay, let's go to the next part. Purpose.
Yes.
So we have things we like, we have things we dislike. Let's talk about why in the world are we taking notes, right? So we'll talk about that. Why take notes? Right? In whatever fashion that you think students should, why are they doing it? Why take notes? In the world. Okay. Okay, let's just open up to the floor. Why do we take notes?
Be able to look at information that you learned at a later date.
Okay. Look at the information you learned at a later date. Anything else?
I think writing things helps me remember.
Okay, so writing helps us remember. Right, so far, that's same as yours too, but that's the best one I've heard. All right. So then let me ask, or do we have anything else? Let me ask you this then, and this is my problem. If we have teachers that take exactly what's in the book, transfer their lesson plan, and put it right on the board, and all you do is copy it, what are you really doing? You're copying the book. We already have notes. Someone paid a lot of money to print them, organize them. They even put page numbers on them for us, right? They even have a table of contents. They've done all that for us. They've done the entire thing for us. Before you start any class, someone gives you all of the notes. Then why in the world are we taking notes? If all we're doing is copy down the book, I already have all the notes. Why am I doing it then? Why
It's
do we
easier
take
to
notes?
remember stuff in your own words too.
Are you writing your own words down though? Or are you just copying what's on the board?
The books show you like step by step, like how to solve something, but when a teacher like is doing it with you, then she can actually like fully explain why you're doing that step and why that comes next and how it connects to the step before and stuff like that.
So what did Christian just say? Are we copying the book down? Yes. But what else is happening?
The audio part of it.
Right. He or she's explaining what the book is doing. Right? If you had a book that's well written enough that it was written kind of for you, like you could understand exactly what was written, you wouldn't need any of this. Right? That would be the class. You don't have to come to class at all because the book explains it perfectly. You get it. But we need teachers because when we read things in books, sometimes it's not clear. They jump steps. They say, and there's a bunch of them say, hey, you should go try this on your own. Fantastic. That's very helpful things. Right? So we need teachers that actually, if they're good, they'll explain how things are connected. They'll explain how things work. They'll give us all those verbal cues. All right? What else will they do? Educators. Not only will they explain things, what else will they do for us? They'll help you make connections. They'll ask questions. They'll get you to think about it. Right? They won't just slap junk. Well, we do just slap junk on the board. Can't get away from that. All right? But we explain what's going on. All right? There are 3 things that can go up on a board for notes. Someone just writes the book down exactly. All right? Someone writes the book down and explains what's going on. or someone writes things that aren't in the book. That's it. That's all we get. All right? So those are the 3 reasons why someone would go on the board. Why do we take notes? So that we can make the connections. Otherwise, why would we just copy the book down? Right? I could save a whole 50 minutes and just go home and copy page 12. All right? And keep in mind, too, the teacher takes all 4 pages and condenses them into 50 minutes. That's a skill. That's a big skill. All right? Where students can't do that. They don't know what's important, what's not important. All right? Okay. So why do you think we take notes? Let's reiterate, because I think I feel good about this, but I don't know how much that sank in. Why do we take notes? Jack.
Make connections.
Make connections. That's why. We definitely want a written record of the book. We want that. But we want to make connections. And in fact, we paid the money to the person to explain the connection. Right? The true false lady, that's a waste of my time. I should get my money back for that. Right? Yeah.
You should go. You should go tell her that.
Yeah. I think in your evaluation, you should put, I would like my money back for this class. All about money. What's that? I'm not an aggressive person like that.
Yes.
Okay, focus. I know we're off track here. Okay, are we okay for the purpose of notes? If all you do is copy the notes on the board, you're missing half the class. Unless the teacher is horrible and you're getting all the class. All right? Okay, that's the deal. Okay. What are learning goals? Knowledge, understanding. That's what I mean by learning goals. How can we incorporate them into what we want students to do? All right, so how can we incorporate knowledge and understanding into how students should take notes? How do we incorporate that? Right? What do you think? Just to kind of make the point again, as we go through this, you're going to pull out what you like and dislike. Not all of this stuff has to go in your framework. Right? It's what you like and dislike. But it's nice to have the conversation. It's nice to think about it. Okay. All right. How about Dallas? What do you think?
I said that taking notes, writing in your own words helps understand the line.
Yeah. So what's wrong with, and I knew a teacher this, and it's actually harder than it sounds to do because it takes up a lot of time. But here's the definition of the theorem. It was a T. Right? So everything was, here's your definition of theorem in math geek speak. And then you gave them the minute, and they had to put it in their own words. Everything was math, and then me. Everything was like that. Great idea. That's the understanding part. That's why we're here, people. All gems off. Right? Weird. Okay, so great. Okay, what else? How else can we incorporate knowledge and understanding? Let's get the easy one out of the way, right? We clearly label things. And math does that for us. I mean, this is a definition. This is a theorem. Right? This is a notation. Right? And not to tangent this, but why not maybe have a separate section, maybe on your paper. I don't know, this could be a little far-fetched. Maybe on your paper you reserve this little part to explain notation. So this is always where we explain what these things mean. Right? Or we have maybe a notation book or something. Right? Not only do we clearly identify them, now it's important that we know the definitions. This is knowledge. Got to have the knowledge. If I don't have the bits of information, I can't connect them. Okay, so I kind of asked the question and answered that one. Anyone else? What else? How else do we connect it? Knowledge and understanding.
I talked about, like, depending on the class and who the students are, the knowledge goals, like declarative and procedural, are definitely things that you would want them to, like, physically write in your notes.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, sometimes with the conceptual and strategic, there are things that can go in the notes, but don't necessarily have to go in the notes, because they wouldn't need to know that necessarily for like the test or quiz or something, depending on the concept.
I understand, and I don't. I think that's a very nice thought. I disagree with part of it, and there's nothing wrong with me doing that. But yeah, I think that's great. Why? What's wrong with telling them? Well, show them behind the curtain. Why not say, hey, look, this is a declarative goal. I'm telling you this because this is the bits. This is information. Bits. This is I'm labeling it 1 through 5 because it's an actual process. This is a step. I don't see any problem at any level though connecting and having them connect, and especially when they're little. I might actually, and this is where it gets hairy because we don't all connect in the same way. Maybe I do circle and then point to an example. Maybe I do it like that. But like I said, I can't understand for you because we all understand it. But yeah, okay. Anything else? Knowledge, understanding. And that was my only other point to make was that idea. Let's actually physically on the board not only say them, make the connections, draw the arrows ourselves. If they won't do it, we'll draw them. Right? Again, we're kind of forcing understanding on them, but it's better than not doing it at all. All right. Again, connect the bits. Connect the bits. Other comments, concerns? Anything anyone wants to add? Okay, so how do we incorporate how students learn? Behaviorism or constructivism? How can we incorporate that? Okay, how about Maddie? What do you think? How can we incorporate learning theory?
I said for like the constructivism part for the prior knowledge, like connect previous material from like previous class periods to the current material you're teaching, and like write that in your notes.
I've even started. This is a perfect idea of it. I start math lessons now with an actual prior knowledge part. So our first lesson is always what the prior knowledge they need is. Right? So then we'll review. I don't spend a lot of time explaining the concepts. I just put them up and do a brief kind of recap. Right? But every single note now, or our notes have prior knowledge right at the top. Right? Okay. Now, I don't do this. It's a great idea, and it's the second half of what Maddie said. Maybe at the end of when you take notes, maybe you dedicate the bottom portion, and you ask them how this connected to the prior knowledge. Right? Ask them how the lesson, right? Right? So how does the lesson connect to the prior knowledge? Why in the world did I show you those 4 things? Right? Okay, so a perfect way. So constructivism, let's connect to their prior knowledge. Absolutely. Right? It doesn't even have to be math stuff. You can go outside the box. Anybody else? How else can we use learning theory in our notes?
Like calling on people instead of like taking volunteers, just so you know that they're actively taking notes.
That's not that easy. Yeah. Right. And then, if you don't mind, if we if I piggyback on that, let's say that I do have a class question and someone answers it, and then I say, hey, look, here's the class question. I want you in your notes to restate what you thought Jimmy just said and how that's important. All right. Now I'm not just asking questions of one person. Now I'm making connections that go in our notes. Remember, we're writing notes for a reason. And if we don't do that, that question's lost. That big idea, that aha moment, it's not there anymore. All right? Great idea. Anything else? What else could we do? So it's all about connection. So again, if you want, you can use the bottom of the page or a dedicated area for maybe you have interpretation. Right? So here, after you get done with your notes, maybe part of that night's homework is you go summarize the notes. Right? Or maybe, oh, and I didn't want to skip over this, I'm sorry, but I had mentioned earlier, or a week ago or whatever, the understanding part, I call them key concepts. So I literally have them write a KC in their notes, and then they write out what I told them was the key concept, why we did that section, whatever. That only, you'll see it fits with my homework as well. Maybe you have them summarize, maybe you have interpret. Right? Maybe you do anything like that, something that you have them connect things. So after they do their homework, they come back to the notes and they connect it somehow. That's a great idea. Remember, it's about connections. We've already got the behaviors part covered. We're copying down the examples. We don't need to keep doing that. All right. Anything else? We'll skip over it. The T-chart was a great one of these too. Let them interpret what they're doing. Connect their own understanding. All right. I just had a stupid thought. So maybe you did a T-chart, but then you changed it with your neighbors, so you got your neighbors talk to maybe understanding. And you had to read through and try to figure out what Jill was trying to do. What are you, nuts? Can you read? That was a whole thing in my mind right there. Bam. Let's move on. Other questions, comments, concerns? Okay, the motivation part, I don't think we'll do this on our own. Let's just talk a little bit about it. So remember, motivation is all about interest and value. I don't know, other than maybe let them use colors, I don't know how it's going to be interesting. I got to be honest. Unless the page starts talking to you, I don't know how that's interesting. Okay, but you can show them value, right? So show them that if they actually take the time and do this, then connect, say, hey, look, on this hard homework problem, look how the notes have helped me. So you can make a connection to new, harder problems in the homework. Because we always want to do that too. We'll get to that when we do the homework. We want to scale it up. We want to actually have them try to do things that we didn't necessarily teach them the entire thing. All right? And show them how, that's classwork too, but show them how the notes help. So it's not just a gibberish pile of junk that you can't understand. They're useful. If you can show that use, then we'll get some intrinsic motivation. Extrinsically, obviously, plug the notes at the end and give them a grade. That's all you have to do. If you want extrinsic, give them points for their notes. Teachers do that all the time. When I student taught, the guy every Friday they'd come up and he'd check off that they had their notes, and it was one of those deals where he's not really looking, so they would just give him crap just to see if he didn't even notice, and they didn't notice. So, but that's it. So intrinsic's pretty easy too. Grade them on it. All right. Okay. So you have some things you like, you have some things you don't like. The purpose is, remember, visual and verbal. Right? We always want to do that stuff. The learning goals, we always want to make connections. Knowledge is about the connections. How are we going to get them to write down the connections? That's what we want. Okay? All right, now you'll need a separate sheet, though. I didn't provide this. So on a separate sheet of paper, now let's construct your framework. So a student comes to you and says, hey, look, how do I take notes based on what you like and don't like, what you wrote down? Let's construct a framework. Are we okay with this, or we want to see an example?
Example.
Sure? Okay. I'm back and forth on whether or not to show you. Okay, so this would be mine. And then I'll show you, actually, I have an example of a student that did this. Just bad. What am I going to do to be bigger? Nope. Okay, so this is what I do. So I explain what's going on. If you're going to be a good note taker, that's the deal. There's visual and verbal. And half the time, we don't put down the verbal stuff. All right? If we don't put down the verbal stuff, it's like going to a class without any sound. All right? So I put down, what do we do? We do 4 things. We record the visual material. You need to record the verbal material. You need to record your personal comments, which are the connections that we need to make. At the very end, you need to verify the notes are a complete resource, which means at the end you'll see my steps that I've explained, how we do that. All right, so my first part is, I do this. Use the middle of the portion of the page to record the visual part. All right, so it's a nice little, your page is divided up in a nice little area anyway. The middle part, that's where you're going to do all your visual stuff. Okay, and then I have some tips here. All right. If they're going too fast, you can always leave out portions that you know and fill them in later, but you know those parts. Right? You can always record the lesson with your phone, right, and add comments later. It's good use of the phone. Right? You can always print the notes before class. That's not always an option. And the last one is, and they need to understand this, you can ask me to slow down. You can ask me to explain something again. It's not a dictatorship. All right? Okay. Doing the verbal stuff, or the, verbal. Okay. I also do the middle of the page. Right? So anything that's verbal, I will actually, I'd have them write down. Maybe I'd have them label it something else. Right? If it's a question in class, if it's a class question, that's the verbal stuff. Right? And plus the stuff they explain, but that's on my step 3 here. Then if you don't know the answer to the question, you need to write down the question. Right? So if they ask a question, you have no idea what the answer is, write it down. If you know what the answer is, then you don't have to write it down. Because guess what? You know what the answer is. All right? It's okay if you don't get the answer down, because you always ask that the teacher later. But you need to get the question down. All right? So if there are class questions, if I ask a question to Jimmy, I know Sam's not Jimmy, but we had that example earlier. I know there was some Jack and Jake confusion, but I got it all down now. I got 7 names right here. They're not going anywhere. Wow, what a weird person I really am. Okay, so that's the verbal part. Okay, now the connection. So I tell them to make connections in 3 ways. There's a nice little left side here that's all blank. That's where we can write our connections. Okay, we write our connections, we draw arrows to where it connects to. I can put boxes or clouds in the actual middle. Remember, the middle's for my visual, my verbal stuff. Right? Be clear that you need to make sure you can tell the difference. They have to stand out. Your personal understandings, your personal comments have to stand out. If they don't, it'll just be a gibberish mess. Okay? And that's the deal. And my last thing. So, review your notes after completing classwork and homework problems. You're doing classwork and homework for a reason. You're doing it to learn stuff. If you don't learn anything, then it was a waste of time. And we need to pick different homework problems. Okay, once you do that, whatever the hell you learned needs to go in your notes. Why would you learn it, forget about it, and then you don't have it for the test? So it's a whole continuous cycle. I take notes for a reason. I use the notes when I can. I learn more stuff. I put them in there. Okay? In fact, even when I ask teacher for help, the teacher, I put those in my notes. Why wouldn't I? And that's a comprehensive set of notes in my mind. All right? That's an example. And here, you can see a student that did this. Loading. So how's it going? Where are you from? It's cold there, isn't it?
We had a snow day yesterday.
Did you really?
So yeah.
It's kind of cool. You make those. Oh, you have them built in at the end, right? Do you not? Snow days? Do you have to make up that day, or is it a certain number?
They build certain number of days.
They do, yeah. Isn't that just what I said?
Well,
Yes.
I didn't know if you were.
Oh.
Yes, they typically it's like they add 6 extra days more than they need to take.
Oh, I got you. And then if you don't have snow days, you have to work those 6 days?
No.
You just get, wait, I have a yes and I have a no.
What?
At our school,
I don't know.
Still have to
At our
work.
school,
Yeah, that's what I meant.
Okay.
If you're
I
gonna use them, they just took them off.
misunderstood.
So you can see here, prior knowledge, she needs to review her paragraph. And she has nice boxes and nice explanations, nice arrows, all that good stuff. Right? This is a different way to take notes. It's a conceptual way to take notes. It's not copying down the book. All right? And all that stuff she has boxed up is all verbal. That is not visual. All right? And all this stuff's on the website. Okay? All right. Have at it. Construct your own framework. Put what you like in it, what you don't. You notice I didn't have any T-charts. I didn't have any prior knowledge stuff. I think if I changed it, I would add all that stuff. I would definitely, after our conversation, I would change this quite a bit. So add stuff you like. We're trying to get a framework, so the student says, how do I take notes? You give them this, and then they know.
This is a lot of pressure.
It is a lot of pressure. It's not an easy thing to do. I'm acting like it's a simple thing to do. It's not. But do your best, and then we'll work together as a team, and hopefully at the very end we'll hammer out what you would like to be a good framework. Okay?
this is very important.
I like it. Go with a strong sentence. I like it.
Get straight to the point.
Uh-huh.
Let them know what's going on.
That's right. Descriptive.
And then it's just as important to write down the auditory things, what the teacher says and is talking about, as it is what they are writing on the board. One way you can organize this is by drawing a line about a quarter of the way from the right of the page. And,
Specific.
Very specific. Yeah, I like it. Hey, don't leave it a chance. You don't know what these weirdos are going to do. Yep, quarter. I like it.
and so draw that line down the page and use this area for personal comments and connections, as well as some of those auditory notes. Distinguish them by some method. One way would be boxing them up, or maybe using a different color to write that. When you're able to make these connections to what you're working on the left side, you can draw arrows to show that there is a connection there, and then you could also write why that is a connection.
So right side's personal and left side's connections?
Yeah.
Well, I like that. I was kind of curious where you're going with that right side thing. That's nice.
Yeah.
I like that.
And then you can distinguish key concepts, for instance, with a star.
Nice.
And then prior knowledge, you can circle those in your notes, and then make sure to write down any questions you may have, just so that you can remember them if you need to ask the teacher later,
I like
if those answers don't come up. And then afterwards, bullet point a summary of your notes so that you can come back to it. And,
Nice. I like that.
and then I drew a nice little picture.
Perfect. Perfect.
of what it looked like.
Perfect. Perfect.
Obviously, actual notes, not scribbles.
Nice. I like that. Nice. And Jack brought up an interesting point I had never thought about, but maybe you could have kind of a symbol system. All stars mean prior knowledge. All arrows mean connections. All double arrows mean personal comments. Is that what you had?
I had stars.
Damn it! I'm so sorry. It was such a great thing. Hey, Nathan. Nathan, what do you have? I should have shut up. Sorry. Well, I might not remember it. So. All right. How about Nathan? What do you have?
Hell. Oh. Okay, so my CTs do this, and I really like it. They put on a board beforehand the learning goal and the main concept. So at the top, the main concept in the lesson, I had a line down to page 2. I wasn't so specific where.
I know
Left side was
we joke, but I would be specific because who knows what they're going to do. But go ahead.
okay. The left side would be what was written up on the board. The right side would be what they said about it.
Anybody said.
The teacher said.
Said, okay.
Said, and then they kind of organize it side by side so they know this goes with that. And then the bottom
Nice.
would be a place, and you kind of section off a place where you can reword something in your own words
Nice.
or have any sort of comments you have. And then I also said if there's some sort of prior knowledge, star it or something.
Nice.
And if they were to add some sort of key concept, put like a break in the paper so that stands out.
What do you mean break?
Like, it's really hard to see, but the line, break the lines and right.
Oh, yeah. Okay, I got you. Okay. Good.
You don't have to.
Nice. I like that. Kristen.
I said start the lesson with a problem from the previous day to start the class at the top of the page, and then explain how an organizing technique for your notes is to write the section, the chapter and the section. Are you doing that day
Good.
with the name of the section
I like it.
at the top of your notes every day?
Okay.
And then drawing a square around it or something so that it stands out. And
And
then,
always the same, right? So always the same top page, always the square.
yeah.
Okay.
That's what I do.
Yeah, no, it's a good idea. I think consistency is the key.
I know, I read it big, I'm sorry. And then I said,
Don't apologize to Nathan because he.
Being mean.
I know.
I said,
Yeah.
if a definition, if the definition is stated, then write down how you interpret it, because you can always refer to the book for the actual definition. Write
Oh, you mean
down-
in place of the definition? Like you could put definition 2 and then I write what I think
Yeah,
was
if
said?
a definition was on the board or something,
Uh-huh.
and they're they can interpret it in
Interesting.
their own notes as they write
Yeah.
it down, and then if they need an actual definition, just refer back to
Yeah,
it.
because you're right. I mean, they are. Yeah, good idea.
And then I said, like write down every example, especially ones you don't understand, and like number your steps if you find it necessary, so that like you can label the step if you don't understand which one that is, to refer back to it or ask questions about it. If you ask questions or ask for an explanation, make sure to like write it down and put a star next
That's
to
good.
it so you remember that one.
And it's weird you have to say it, but you got to tell them
Uh-huh.
because I just won't.
And then if like I ever mention something that sticks out to the person, write it down and make it noticeable by like highlighting it or drawing a cloud around it or something so you remember it for a test.
Nice, nice. And Christopher brings up an interesting point too. If you have a procedure and you're writing on procedures, then all number ones will be the same idea, right? Here's where I, rationalize the denominator. That's my number one or my symbol. Yeah, so you can start looking for similarities and differences in the process. Okay, Janelle.
Okay, so like I had it where at the top of the page they write down just the definitions and theorems as like a quick reference so they aren't searching through their notes for it. And then in the middle will be like where they actually like write down example problems, or like if it's like step by step, they'll first write down each step and then you'll have your examples that go with that process. But as you're doing the examples, actually label each part of the example that goes with the steps.
Nice.
So
Nice.
like if it says step 1, they don't remember what step 1, they can look and see what it was.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
And then in the margins, just have them write down their connections, either what you say or what they can connect their own, and then just draw boxes around it. And then at the end, have a quick little reference for like notation or some new symbols that they don't have, because it's easier to like
nice.
have a reference of them.
So like at the end of all the notes or your
Yeah.
kind of your
Yeah, like
index
this,
or
like,
your
FFX
dictionary. Yep.
this or
Yeah.
whatever, yeah.
Perfect.
Set it up the way that you had it, but I put different things in there.
Mhm.
But I did like a what do you see? So how do you see on the board? Color coordinate concepts or different steps.
That'd be
So you're working on like foiling or something. Do the first step in blue and the second step
Yeah, I like
do it
that.
in different colors.
I like that.
Use arrows to direct you. So if you're going from one step to another step and you happen to go this way, draw an arrow so you know where to go. If you run out of time to like get everything on the board down, either ask if you can take a picture of the board or if you can come in during like study hall to see the teacher's notes so you can get the rest of the notes
That's a good
rather
idea.
than just leaving your notes unfinished.
And everyone has a phone, so why not use them?
Right?
And they don't think about it either. But tell
And
them
you
it's
want
okay to
use
take a
them,
picture.
so,
Yeah, but they really don't think about it. But it's a great idea. I had a kid go up. I'm like, "Don't you have a phone? Take a picture, you idiot!" Oh, okay. Anyway, so there you go. Reminiscing.
I talked about titling my pages too with chapters and sections. If you have time, write down. I think somebody might have said this, but like writing down what the actual steps are. So instead of just numbering them, I write down what.
Oh, like I got you. So you've listed out the numbers, but then next to them. Okay. yeah,
Right.
I like it.
Because
Yeah.
sometimes you.
Yeah. Nice.
And then I had like a what do you hear? So use the side margins to write things that you hear and box it because I feel like I didn't do the whole half page thing
You don't
because
have to,
sometimes
it's
you
okay.
don't need that extra space.
Mhm.
So I put box comments you hear during the lecture. And then I did a what do you think? So also use side margins or extra space to write down your thoughts, questions, connections that you have.
Excellent.
And then at the end, when you look back at your notes, like during your homework or studying, what questions can't you answer from your notes, so then you can come back and.
I like that a lot too. Yeah, that's a good step. Nice. Maddie.
For mine, the parts I had was like the prior knowledge part, the class notes, like a written and verbal part, and then a key concept part, and then like a question part. So for the prior knowledge one, there was like an example or a previous problem, then to write that down, and then write like a sentence on how it connects to the material that you're going to learn today, and then.
Now, are you writing the sentence or are they?
No, they are.
Okay.
Well, I mean, not.
But they'd have to come back though. But yeah, I mean, there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
As long as they leave space, yeah. But as long as you
Okay.
dedicate space. I like the idea that they do it because if you do it, then might as well just.
I guess
Turn
I
off the
can do
notes.
that part to like the bottom.
Yeah. No, top's fine. You just leave space.
And then for the class notes, I had it like the right side is like the verbal part you write, and the left side is the written part from the board.
Mhm.
And then for the written part, you'd write down like definitions and examples, and then like in your own words, write down like the important steps and then box those.
Nice.
And then on the right side, it'd be like in your own words too, I guess, from whatever the teacher emphasizes or like repeats over and over again. And then for the key concept part, it's just like reviewing all the notes you've taken and write down what you believe like was the main learning goal for that lesson.
Oh, nice. Like a
in
core
your own
concept,
words.
yeah.
And then under that, like if you had any connection or if you had any questions and you didn't understand like some of the connections or you're missing information, then just write those questions there so that they can be addressed.
Nice. Excellent. We have two, follow-up question sections. I like that. Yeah. All right, Sam. I don't know. I like to both of you. Trying to
Well, I said
compete.
at the top of your paper to write down the date and the chapter that the notes are over. Just kind of get organized, and then I said, kind of went off that, or first to create a space of like where to connect, like maybe like a warm up or a prior knowledge thing, and then from there I kind of did that T thing too, but instead of just making a T, I said make a T with a definition in your own words and then close it off, because then sometimes the examples kind of run off to the right instead of just going straight down. I thought. So then
Say that
you can
again?
see what examples were to each definition.
Oh, I got you. Okay.
Kind of deal.
Okay.
And then I said make sure you leave the left side. It's usually denoted by a red line blank, just so you can kind of take some of your own notes and connections. And then if you write something the teacher says verbal, make sure you make that well known with like a box or different colors. And then at the end for a summary, I said it's a good place for like a key of symbols. So,
Nice. Perfect. Another one. Yeah. That was excellent. I like that. All right. Is that good?
Yeah, that's it
Okay.
right there.
No, it wasn't perfect. That was-
Yep, awesome.
Alright, so I said start by labeling like your paper with like what section, what topic we're learning today. Then I said write down things that are not only visual but also verbal. And then the teacher will hopefully say what the key concepts are. So start with the key concepts. Organize, and for your notes, organize in a way that you understand it.
That's true too.
I recommend don't cram, space it out so it's
Yeah.
you can see it more clearly, and then
Got lots of trees.
use colors, bullets, numbering to keep it more organized. To the side, you can write in your own words to better understand what's going on, whether that's steps, definitions. And then I said make T-charts for definitions and your own words.
I like that.
Write down any questions you have in case there's no time for questions and you remember them later.
That's a great one.
Also remember to write down things your classmates say because they may be able to explain it better than the teacher.
And they'll never write those down. I don't know what it is. That's a good one.
If you already know, you do not have to write it down.
And that's misunderstood too. If there's something, I mean, not that you're at the end of your careers, but if you actually read the sections and you get what's going on, why are you copying down what's on the board? Like, first of all, this is in the book, and I get it, so I don't need to write it down twice. Thanks. Anyway, so that was a very nice point that I liked.
And then lastly, I just said notes are to come back to, so for help or to add to them.
And that's a follow-up too. If you come back to your notes and you can't understand them, then why are you still taking notes the exact same way? So you need to ask them at some point, do you understand your notes? If not, we need to fix this. It's not what we do in 50 minutes. It's for a purpose, okay? All right, I just had two other comments. Make sure you give them time when you're doing your lecture because they have to do all the stuff you just said, right? And it's going to be a balance. Maybe, so the T-chart I gave up with just because it took them too much time. It's a great idea, but I had to sacrifice time for it, and I just didn't do it anymore, right? But there's nothing to say that you can't. And make sure, too, you mimic the stuff when you're in your lessons now. You need to tell them this is the connection I'm talking about. So now on the left margin, draw the arrow, put the star, put the whatever. You can't just assume they're going to get it all. All right? You need to mimic it.